Hey everyone, and welcome back to Made to Order a la Orden. I'm Chef Z, and today I am so excited to finally be filming in my brand new kitchen that I have to do a little bit of a happy dance because yes, that is how hyped I am. Now today we're making a really easy dessert just in time for Valentine's Day that your loved ones are going to go crazy about. We're making some red velvet cheesecake brownies, and again, they're easy to make. So you see that stand mixer right there? We're not using it. All we need is a bowl, some spatula, and a whisk, and then we're gonna get it popping. So if you wanna learn how to make these red velvet cheesecake brownies, then just keep watching. These red velvet cheesecake brownies are super easy to make, and chances are that you probably already have most of the ingredients in your house. And of course, I got you covered with the ingredients listed for you right here. Now, okay, before we even get started, and trust me, I'm hungry, I can't wait to dig into these brownies, I do want to preface by saying that part of the reasons these brownies are so easy to make is because we're going to be using a wet-dry method of baking. And what that pretty much means is that we're going to mix together all of our wet ingredients, set that to the side, mix together all of our dry ingredients, set that off to the side, and then we're going to mix them together like one big happy family, and we're going to mix that until it's well incorporated, and then what you have is a beautiful and decadent dessert. Now, this does differ from some of my other baking videos where I kind of like cream the butter and cream the sugar and add everything one by one. We're not doing that in this video, but that's not to say that these brownies aren't going to come out just as tasty as though we had done that method. All right, so now again, let's get started because I'm hungry and we're going to begin by melting our butter. So we're going to start off by melting our butter on a low to medium flame, and this part is really quick. It takes about maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and you want to just constantly swirl around the butter just so that the butter doesn't burn. And then once the butter is all melted, we're going to add it to our large mixing bowl where we're going to add the rest of our wet ingredients, starting with the sugar, the eggs, some vinegar, and some vanilla extract. Now, don't be worried about the vinegar because we're adding such a small amount of vinegar to this batter that you won't hardly get to taste it. So now you're going to mix together all those wet ingredients, and then my favorite part is adding the red food coloring, which you can also use red food coloring paste if that's what you have on hand. We're going to mix that all together, and then we're going to see magic happen, and our batter is magically going to turn red. So now we're going to set that over to the side, and we're going to mix together our dry ingredients. We're going to add the cocoa powder into the regular flour, and then we're going to add that little bit of pinch of salt, and we're going to mix that all together. Now, as a rule of thumb, anytime I'm working with some cocoa powder, I do like to whisk it together just to get all those clumps out, because cocoa powder in particular can be a little tough to work with only because it just clumps up more than flour. So now we're going to bring back our wet batter, and we're going to add our dry ingredients, and then we're going to take a large spatula and gently fold in that flour. Now, if you wanted to use a whisk, you can. I personally just like to use a spatula whenever I'm making a brownies because brownie batter tends to be really thick. So I just mix it all together until it's well combined, and just look at that beautiful, vibrant red color. If you're not a big fan of cheesecake, or if you don't have cream cheese on hand, feel free to just bake the brownies just like this, and you'll still have some delicious red velvet brownies. Now, moving on to making the cream cheese mixture. You're going to want to take some room temperature cream cheese, and it's really important that it be room temperature so that you can mash it up just like you see here. And I'm using a spatula, but you can also use a fork, or if you didn't want to do this part by hand, feel free to use a hand mixer because it'll be a lot easier and a lot quicker. So now we're going to add the 1 egg, some sugar, and some vanilla extract, and that vanilla extract is really going to give our cream cheese a really good flavor. Now, if you wanted this part to be sweeter, feel free to add an extra 1/4 of a cup of sugar. I only added just 1/4 of a cup. So we're gonna mix that all together by hand until all the clumps are pretty much smooth and we have like a beautiful velvety consistency. Now again, I'm doing this by hand and it took me maybe about like 3 to 5 minutes to get it to this consistency that you see here. So we're going to set that off to the side and we're going to take an 8x8 inch pan and we're going to line that with parchment paper because it will make our life so much easier. And we're going to add the red velvet brownie mixture, leaving behind about 3 tablespoons, which you can pretty much eyeball. And we're going to spread the red velvet brownie mixture all over and making sure to get it into the corner as well. And we're going to smooth it out until we have more or less an even layer. Then we're going to take our cream cheese and we're going to spread that all over. And unlike the brownie mixture, you want to make sure to get all of that cream cheese. Now you want to spread it, and say you don't spread it evenly, don't worry, because it's actually going to create a really cool design later on. So then that little bit of brownie batter that we had left over, we're just going to place random drops all throughout the very top, because this is where you're going to channel your inner artist. So if you're like a little inner Picasso or Van Gogh, this is where you're going to get some of that swirl action using a butter knife or a small spatula like you see here. You're just going to swirl randomly. Now, I'm not the best swirler, but this part I find so fun because every time you make this dessert, no two red velvet cheesecake brownies are going to look the same because your swirls will always be different. So once that's done, you want to pop that into the oven at 350 degrees and you're going to want to bake that for about 20 to 30 minutes. I pretty much eyeball it, so whenever I stick in a toothpick and it comes out clean, that's how I know it's done. And then I let it cool absolutely completely before I take it out of the pan, and then I cut it in half. And what I like to do is I like to cut it in half, and then those 2 pieces, I cut those in half as well, just so that I have evenly sized brownies. And overall, this gives me about 16 pieces of brownies, which by the way, do not last in my house because between my boyfriend and I, we pretty much just eat them all up. So there you have it, guys, my recipe for some red velvet cheesecake brownies. These bad boys are easy to make and super delicious. My boyfriend absolutely loves them. I got the inspiration to make these when I saw them on Pinterest, and ever since I've been practicing this recipe, my boyfriend's always like, so what about those red velvet brownies? I'm like, babe, there's more brownies other than red velvet. But nonetheless, I don't mind making them around this time of year because it's perfect for Valentine's Day. You guys already know, if you have any questions on this recipe, visit my website, chefzcooks.com, or see the description box below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and follow me on social media. All of my information is listed for you right here, here, and here. And until next time, when I have an all new recipe, buen provecho.